Hey, and welcome to the channel. Today we're working on a 2004 through 2010 Toyota Sienna quarter glass. Now, these quarter glasses, if you find yourself with a broken quarter glass, these are really easy to do yourself if you're in that situation. They are mechanically fastened, which means they are bolted. They're, no adhesive like this back glass here. This is bonded, your windshield's bonded, but the quarter glass are mechanically fastened, and all you need are some sockets and a couple other tools. I'm going to show you how to remove the interior panel so that you can get that installed yourself. The great thing is if you're doing left or right side, they're pretty much going to be the same. There's only going to be one thing different. It's on the passenger side, but for the most part you will need a deep socket, 10 millimeter. It's a must on this one. You're also going to need a 14 millimeter socket for your seat belt. That's got to come off. Remove this interior panel. Underneath here on the passenger side especially, not the driver's side, but you do have air vent that you'll have to remove if you end up moving the whole hinge for the pop out, which that's what I do, and I'm gonna get further into it. You may not have to remove that if it's broken. Remember, if you are working with tempered glass, wear gloves and glasses. Some of the worst cuts that I ever got doing auto glass came from tempered glass. I have a panel tool here. You could probably use a screwdriver, but I've got this clip here on the side. You want to start there, get underneath there and pull up. This is going to pop out like that. We're going to remove two of these, one on the back side and the one over here. They pop out just like that. Their expansion clip go out. I've got my impact here. I'm going to go ahead and pop this cover off here for the seat belt. The paneling. Sometimes you've got clips that are really stubborn. This is an older van, so it shouldn't be too much. But again, if you have a pan tool or a screwdriver, and you work it here on the side, you just pull back a little bit, you'll start having this thing pop out, and it's going to separate the panel. So work along here towards your window. Right here where that seatbelt comes, that's a good place to grab it, and this whole thing will pop loose. You don't need to take or remove the entire thing, just pop it loose. Same with up here. We've already removed this piece here, so we're just going to pop this loose. There are two more 10 millimeter bolts we need to take out to remove this. Behind this panel, which is your A, B, C pillar. This is D, going back from the front to the back, A, B, C, D. The C pillar behind here are your deep socket 10 millimeter that you have to get the glass out. So I'm going to pull this back enough to get in here. I have an extension with this deep socket 10 millimeter. I'm going to pull this back enough where I could actually get in here. Of course, if you're using a socket wrench, you don't have to pull it back that far. It's just right here. Of course, be careful not to drop your 10 millimeter bolts, but again, pull it back. Now, once you've pulled those two bolts, this should just pop off up here. It's got a hook that hooks into this up here, and then of course the bottom is fastened with those 10 millimeter. Okay, that's that front one. Now your D pillar, you may have to pop your seatbelt cover up here back. This pops, it's got clips, and then take and pull this D pillar cover and just set that aside. Like I said, this side, the passenger side, has a vent that runs for the AC. Okay, and when I've worked on these before and pulling this back here, you need to remove this, and of course remove this. You've got this anchor where your seat belt's at, and it's 14 millimeters, the same as your seat belt. If you pull that, or it'll fall, if you pull that out, your vent, if I'm not mistaken, this vent will come out as pops in from the top. If you pull down here at the bottom first and then pull down, it'll slide out. Again, you might have to pull this paneling back just a little to get it, but once you pull this vent out, you have two 10 millimeter bolts for this unit here. And when I do these, I do pull this. Just seems easier sometimes situation might be different with yours. But it might be easier to finagle this with it glass out because it's got a pin that ball bearing snaps into, and then it's got looks like a T20 or T25 bolt that, again, if you don't do this part that I'm doing here, you just end up unscrewing this and screwing that back on. The hinge, or I guess this is the hinge, this is the latch. For your hinges, it is, like I said, deep socket. You got to have deep 10 millimeter. Unbolt that. Of course, it's going to want to fall. If you have a magnet, this is the time to use it. I always carry this with me. Reach up in here, pull that out with a magnet so you don't lose it and drop it. The bottom one, same deal. Use a magnet, pull that nut out, or drop it like I did and have to deal with that. If you do unbolt it like I do, don't forget to disconnect this wire for that. Glass out. Some of these automatic doors want to open and close on you. You will have to get it propped open enough, not want it to open fully, to get and pull this back. Once you've unbolted everything, just comes out. Okay, and now you do your cleanup, and that is how you take it apart. I hope that was helpful. Keep track of all your fasteners and just go back the opposite direction when you're ready to put it back together.